I'm Jason UFC, and it looks like we have a very, very, very exciting heavyweight fight for UFC 271 in Houston. Derrick Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa in the works for UFC 271 in Houston. A fight between Lewis, 26-8 MMA, 17-6 in the UFC, and Tai Tuivasa, 14-3 in MMA, 7-3 in the UFC, is in the works for UFC 271, which takes place February 2nd, 2022 at the Toyota Center in Houston. Lewis broke the record for most knockouts in UFC history when he took out Chris Dukakis in round 1 of UFC Fight Night 199 main event in December. I believe that event was in Las Vegas. The Black Beast has won 5 of his past 6 fights. His lone loss came in an interim heavyweight title fight against Cyril Gane at UFC 265, which also happened to take place in Houston. Tai Tuivasa is enjoying the best run of his career. The 28-year-old Aussie, who has been training out of Dubai under head coach Sean Sullivan, has knocked out his past 4 opponents, including back-to-back performance of the night finishes of Greg Hardy and Augusta Sakai. With the addition, the UFC 271 lineup includes the main event middleweight title fight between Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker, Derrick Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa, and Derek Brunson versus Jared Cannonier. I'm not going to go through the rest of the fights. But yeah, this is a very, very exciting fight. Lewis is coming off of a pretty good, strong knockout win last month versus Chris Dukakis, first round knockout. Tai Tuivasa coming off back-to-back wins and performance of the night finishes. His last win came against Augusta Sakai, heavyweight title contender match here. Derrick Lewis is a top 5 heavyweight contender. Tai Tuivasa may be in the top 10 in the heavyweight contenders. But, I mean, from outside looking in, you would imagine Lewis probably goes into this fight and knocks out Tai Tuivasa. I mean, you just have to be honest. Another thing I'm really excited about this card, obviously I want to see the rematch between Israel Adesanya and Robert Whittaker, but we also have a really, really good low-key, this fight right here could be clearly a number 1 contender. This fight right here could clearly be a main event. But Derek Brunson versus Jared Cannonier, that's in very exciting fight, especially on this card, as you have, either one of those guys could step in case anyone happens to fall out of the title fight. Both of them are middleweights. Both of them have really, really strong win streak. Derek Brunson, clearly, if he wins this fight, will want the fight versus Israel Adesanya. I believe he's coming off of a win over Derek Till. I believe he finished him like in the 2nd round. So that's going to be a good fight. Israel Adesanya has had many good things to say about Jared Cannonier. Jared Cannonier is coming all the way down from heavyweight. He's competed at heavyweight. He's competed at light heavyweight, and now he's all the way down to middleweight. He actually fought Robert Whittaker at middleweight. Robert Whittaker coming off of a huge win streak. I believe his fight was what was his last fight? Was his Gaslam? I think it was one of those guys. But this is a rematch for the middleweight title, Israel Adesanya versus Robert Whittaker. That's going to be a good fight. But obviously, adding Derrick Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa in Houston, that's a very, very exciting fight. The crowd is going to be going crazy. I really expect a lot of crazy results. I believe, I think Kyler Phillips is also one to look out for on this card. This looks like a really good card. Keep an eye on this lineup. I don't know if it's going to get much better than this. I mean, I think there's how many fights already? There's like 15 fights already on this card. But I'm actually really super excited for this card. I really like the addition of a heavyweight fight, especially between Derrick Lewis' hometown with the record for the most knockouts in the UFC. So I'm really excited about this card. You have to love this card if you're a UFC, if you're an MMA fan. Derrick Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa. I don't know. Will that be the I don't think that's going to be the co-main event. That's going to be a that probably will be the co-main event. I don't think you're going to put the the middleweights in the co-main event. So I would imagine Derrick Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa probably will be the co-main event, with Derrick Brunson and Jared Cannonier being the second co-main event. But yeah, what do you think about this fight? Who do you have winning? Am I wrong? Do you think Tai Tuivasa goes in there, beats Derrick Lewis, does a shoey in Houston? Either way, comment below. Thank you for watching. Let me know what you think about the UFC in 2022 and what do you think about UFC 271 adding a hometown kid, Derrick Lewis, versus Tai Tuivasa in a heavyweight division. I'm Jason UFC. This is a update, breaking news on Derrick Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa in the works for UFC 271 in Houston.